This is Alex, and welcome to Barely Braided, where we're taking a deep, deep dive into foster care, adoption, and all things parenting, even the sticky stuff. Oh, hey, it's episode 6. Is it episode 6? I don't know. I'm incredibly disorganized right now, and so it could be episode 72, and I'm just not aware of it. But I'm pretty sure it's episode 6. So today is kind of a rare occasion for me because it's President's Day. It's a holiday. I don't have to work, and the kids are at daycare. I am really struggling, getting my mind right and wrapped around the fact that there are not kids in the house right now, because that is so rare for me. This morning when I was getting ready, I was bouncing between the upstairs and the downstairs, and I kept thinking I was hearing a baby crying, and I had to remind myself that there were no babies in the house. Or when I was downstairs in the kitchen, I would think that, hey, I should make a bottle because I know I'll need one at some point very soon. And then I'm like, wait, the kids aren't here all day. I don't need to make a bottle. It is the weirdest thing. I am never home by myself. This is going to be a kind of casual, laid-back episode, only because I don't have any guests today. Joel is at work, and my next 2 guests are scheduled early in March. So I'm pretty much just hanging out here in the guest bedroom closet, talking to myself, and it's kind of creepy. But I wanted to put something out there because Joel and I will be going on vacation next week without the kids, and it'll be a minute before I can release any new episodes. Before I jump in, I do want to talk about the fact that we have started our very first giveaway. I have never done a giveaway before, and I am really excited about it. I hope I don't screw it up, but this is how it's going to work. In order to enter, it's pretty simple. There are just 2 steps. Go to the Purple Apple Podcast app and find this podcast, Barely Braided. I'm assuming you probably have navigated to it to get to this, so you probably know how to find it. Once you do, leave a written review. And I'm just asking for your honest feedback. You could give me good feedback or critique, criticism. Just tell me your thoughts is all I ask for. After that, go to my Instagram page, which is Barely Braided Podcast. In my story highlights is a story that asks for you to enter the username that you used on Apple. Once you've done that, you're entered. The contest ends on March 31st, so on that day, what we'll do is we will randomly choose a winner. The winner will receive a Rocketbook Wave, and if you haven't heard of the Rocketbook Wave, they are super cool, especially for people like me who prefer to write using actual pen and paper sometimes. So how it works is you jot down illustrations or notes or whatever it is that you want to save into the Rocketbook, and then at the bottom, it will ask you where you want to push this information to. So it integrates with other platforms like Outlook or Evernote. I use Evernote all the time, and you basically tell it where you want that information to go. Then you scan it in using an app on your phone, and after that, you put the Rocketbook in the microwave, and when you take it out, the text and your illustrations are gone. It's crazy. So obviously the Rocketbook Wave is super eco-friendly, it's very easy to use, and it's really, really super cool. Joel will be choosing the winner. I promised him that he would be able to choose out of a hat, and we will do it live on my Instagram story. Also, if while you're leaving a written review, you feel inclined to click the 5 stars, I wouldn't be mad about it. It's not required. You can give me your honest opinion, but clicking the 5 stars would just probably make you feel better, so you might try that. All right, that was enough happiness and positivity for me today because we're going to switch gears and talk about all of the things that irritate me. Or let me back up, not all of the things that irritate me because I don't know that we have the time for that. Here are a few things that irritate me. Number 1, we're going to start the list off really strong with something that has bothered me for so long, and nobody ever talks about this. I cannot figure it out. When I read online forums or talk to my friends about their significant others, this is literally something that nobody has ever heard of, and I feel like the only one, so I have to put it out there in the air and just see if it's only me that experiences this or only me that talks about it. You may have a husband or a wife that lies to you or that cheats on you or that's really, really mean to you. I'm very lucky because I don't. But let me tell you what I do have. I have a husband that when laying down in bed and trying to turn over underneath the covers, he pulls all of the covers with them off of me. This is crazy. Am I the only person that experiences this? Let me just paint you a picture. So imagine it's almost bedtime. You're laying in bed, either watching TV or maybe you're jacking around on your phone, whatever you're doing, and you mutually decide that it's time to go to sleep. If you're blind as a bat like me, you take off your glasses and you set them over on the nightstand very gently next to your cell phone. You just start to get all cozy and cuddled in under the covers when your husband turns to his side to do the same thing. I don't know, plug in his phone, take off his glasses, maybe put his CPAP machine on. But the difference is, when he turns to his side, he takes all of the covers with him, leaving you cold, exposed, and uncomfortable. It is seriously the worst feeling ever. I don't know if I'm the only one who has a husband with this problem, and trust me, we've tried to work on it. I've encouraged him to practice turning over underneath the covers without taking the covers with him, and he just can't do it. I don't know if it's like one of those skills that you either have it or you don't have it, or maybe it's something that can be learned with practice, but at this point, this is a real struggle for me. So that is number 1 on the list. I don't know, it's triggering for me. We need to move on. Okay, next. What is with that stuff that they staple up underneath furniture? You know, like that black, meshy fabric stuff that they use, I think maybe to cover the underneath of the structure of the furniture? I really don't care what the reason is. It is incredibly frustrating and pointless. Maybe it's because I've always had cats, or maybe I just buy cheap furniture, but it seems like that stuff is always falling off, it's coming undone, it's being left all over the carpet, it's making a mess, and I just don't like it. If you know of a furniture company that makes couches or chairs or any type of furniture that does not come with this stuff, or maybe comes with a better solution, please send me your recommendations because I am so over that black junk all over my floors all the time. The next thing on my list is actually something that's foster care related, and this is something that if you're a foster parent, you literally have heard 100 times. It happens when you're telling somebody else what you do. They inevitably say, I couldn't be a foster parent. I would get too attached. Or how do you not get so attached to the children? You hear this time after time after time. And I know people aren't saying this in like a rude or a condescending way, but it just comes off wrong to me. Part of it feels like they're insinuating that we don't get as attached to these children as we should, or that we're not as attached to these kids as we would, for example, a biological child, and that's not the case at all. My answer most times is pretty simple. It's not about me. It's about the kids, and it's not about my feelings. It's not about my attachment. As a foster parent, it is my job to be as attached as possible to these kids. That's what I'm there for. And so kind of feeling like I shouldn't get attached or they would get too attached or more attached than me, it's also confusing, but it just comes off wrong. You hear it 1,000 times and it's just not the right thing to say. So here's an alternative. If you run across someone who tells you that they're a foster parent, a better response is, wow, that's something I'm not familiar with. What can you tell me about foster care? Or for a better friend, what can I do to help you? Or what can I do to make your life easier? 10 out of 10 foster parents recommend that answer. I promise. Okay, time for the next one. And this one not only relates to foster parents, any people, any humans. I think we can all relate to this. I am so confused by why people have to eat and sleep. Like, okay, biologically, I get it. I understand that people need sleep in order to function, and I get that we need food in order to feed our bodies in order for them to work right. But why were we made that way? Why were we not just made in a way that doesn't require food and doesn't require sleep? It just seems like it would make so much more sense, and we wouldn't have to waste a bunch of time buying groceries and cooking food and putting food in our bodies and spending like X amount of hours per night sleeping. It just does not make sense to me. If anybody knows how I could transform my body into being a robot, I would really like that. I would get so much more done. I would have so much more time and so much more money. And I would just have a really good life if I didn't have to feed myself and if I didn't have to sleep. Okay, that one was kind of weird, but seriously, frustrating. This next one relates back to my trip to Target this morning and why I decided to make this episode to begin with. My next frustration is the people who decide to make Starbucks orders that are 16 steps long. This is not necessary. Let me just preface this whole thing by saying that I'm kind of a rookie when it comes to Starbucks. I definitely jumped on the Starbucks bandwagon later than most, but I have gotten myself involved. I do know my Starbucks order like the back of my hand, and it's not that complicated. I get a grande iced caramel macchiato with almond milk, and that's it. Now, the woman in front of me in line today did not know her Starbucks order like the back of her hand and like she should have. Instead, she insisted on showing the barista her cell phone, which had 16 steps laid out to making the drink that she wanted to order. Now, I started my whole Starbucks excursion pretty excited because there was only one person in line in front of me. And if you've ever been to a Starbucks, you know that only one person in line in front of you is like something to be excited about. But this lady like quickly popped my excitement bubble by ordering this thing that was going to take them 20 minutes to make. Oh, and get this, on top of her extremely complicated secret menu order, she also ordered 2 cake pops. Who does that? An extremely complicated coffee order and 2 cake pops. Don't do that. It's bad form. It looks bad. Also, is the Starbucks secret menu actually a thing? Because I feel like any menu that is a secret that I can type into Google and easily find, then it's not really a secret anymore. And on top of that, if a menu item is so popular that it's like topping the secret menu, why would Starbucks not add it to the regular menu anyways? It makes no sense to me. But again, I am kind of a Starbucks rookie, so if you're some sort of Starbucks pro and you know all the tips and tricks and you have a better insight into the culture and the life that is Starbucks that I'm kind of missing and not understanding, please feel free to enlighten me. Whew, I feel like I'm sweating after that one. Okay, next on the list. Surprise, surprise, this is also coffee related because it is my ongoing, lifelong addiction. This one has to do with the Keurig. Okay, Keurig, why do you make your machines in a way that does not allow someone to put a normal-sized Yeti cup or a normal-sized coffee tumbler underneath? Instead, you have to take off that stupid plastic piece in order to fit your cup underneath. It makes no sense. My life would be so much easier if you just raised up the spout a little bit, made that spout a little bit taller, and then I could put pretty much any cup I wanted under there. This is a major design flaw if you ask me. Okay, next, and this also relates to my Target run this morning. I guess I just had a very unpleasant experience. Let's talk about unclear packaging. And by unclear packaging, what I mean is that I went to Target in an attempt to find a USB hub. A USB hub basically allows you to plug it into your computer and then you'll have more USB ports than you originally did. It expands the number of USB ports on your computer. I have a Surface Pro and I really love my Surface Pro except for the fact that there's only one USB port and I needed more than that. I was very pleasantly surprised when I was kind of tooling around the electronics department when the employee asked if there was anything that he could help me with. And I took him up on his offer, I told him what he was looking for, and he pointed me in the right direction. Now, they only had 2 options. The one option was right in front of me, and then the other option was behind a bunch of customers that I couldn't really have access to. So I picked up the first option, and I just kind of trusted him. I get home, start opening up this little thing, and I come to find out that this USB hub actually plugs in using a very weird, strange type of plug that I have never seen before. Now, why would it not just plug into my computer using a regular USB plug? That's what I had expected. So then I start to investigate. As I'm reading the packaging, I read that this is exactly the type of product that I was looking for. It was a USB expander that had 1 male part and 4 female parts. Oh, that sounds dirty. But that's what I was looking for. That's exactly what I needed. Nowhere on that packaging did it say it had this weird, strange plug that nobody in their lives have ever heard of. I would have picked it up, examined the packaging in the store, and made the same exact mistake. I think we all just need to go ahead and go on strike and boycott unclear packaging because it's just not fair. Okay, this next one is going to be something you can either relate to or you can't. And for those of you who can't, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're the problem. We're talking about bad drivers. I am just not understanding where you have to go that is so important that you have to get there so quickly and before everybody else on the road. Like, I kind of think of my lane as like a line. Like, you're in kindergarten and you're in a line with all of your classmates. It's rude to cut. Like, it's always been rude to cut in line. Why is it okay when you're an adult driver? Like, unless you have a pregnant woman giving birth in the back of your car, or you're a pregnant woman giving birth while you're driving your car, you have no excuse to drive like a crazy person. It's just not necessary. And also, we need to talk about when lanes merge together. Does everybody know how a zipper works? Because according to my research in Nashville driving, not everybody knows how a zipper works. I've always been taught that when 2 lanes are merging into one, it should work like a zipper. Left car goes, right car goes. Left car goes, right car goes. And that's just not how it ends up working in practice here, in my experience. We could go on and on and on about drivers and aggressive drivers and too fast drivers and too slow drivers, but I'm being honest, I just don't have the time or energy right now, so let's go ahead and move on. Next, we need to address the instructions that come with HelloFresh. If you've ever used HelloFresh, you know that their food is super good. It's kind of an expensive service, but it saves us a whole lot of time during the week, and we are pretty much religious subscribers. My problem is not with the food, not with the delivery, not with the options that they have. My problem is with the instructions. Why, oh why, HelloFresh, do you include 18 different steps in step 1 of your instructions? Yes, it makes it look like it's a 6-step meal process, but there are 85 steps in each step. It doesn't make sense. And then you try to tell me that it'll take like 30 minutes to make a meal, when in reality, it takes me like 2 hours. Maybe I'm just a terrible cook, or maybe I'm super slow, but I cannot make these meals in 30 minutes like they advertise. Who knows? Either way, I'm going to keep ordering them. Next is similar, and this is a smoothie subscription box. I feel like this is a little bit less popular than like the meal delivery boxes, but I am on a smoothie kick. I've been on a smoothie kick for like a year now, and I just absolutely love them. And so I've tried a couple of the different subscription boxes, but there's one big, huge problem here, and that's the price. Like, look, yeah, I know I'm cheap, but I am willing to spend a little bit of money on something that's going to make my life easier or save me some time. And that's what I thought was going to happen with these smoothie subscription boxes. Let me just tell you, it is not worth it. Yes, the smoothies are good and they're healthy and they taste yummy and they're easy to make, but they are like $60 for a box. That is crazy. Like, I could go to Smoothie King every single day and pay way less than that. It makes 0 sense. Why am I trying to pay like $15 per smoothie when it's delivered to my house? I am not doing that. I'll just keep buying my frozen fruit, keep buying my almond milk, and I will make them myself. It's kind of like manual adult labor, but hey, I'll take it if I'm not paying $27 per smoothie. Okay, that was a lot. I feel like we kind of need to turn the karma juices around. So now I'm going to switch gears and talk about a few things that I really love. Fair warning, a majority of these are food related. Have you ever tried Chipotle mayonnaise? Oh my goodness, if you have not, get yourself in your car, drive over to your store and buy some Chipotle mayonnaise. It is seriously good on everything. Chipotle mayonnaise is where it's at. Give it a try. You will thank me. Also, the Tex-Mex Trail Mix from Walmart. Please go buy you a bag because this stuff is so addicting. It's the Walmart brand and it comes in these big orange bags. I like to dip it in hummus, which is like so good. I eat it every single day. Get you some Tex-Mex trail mix. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to say. Please do it. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be life-changing, and it will forever rock your world. I promise. Next. This is not food. Do not eat this. But have you ever been to like a nursery or a garden store and seen magnolia boughs? Magnolia boughs are like so pretty. You can usually buy them at Christmas time. But the wonderful thing about them, at least in my experience, is that they don't die. First of all, they're like a stick and they have all these really pretty green and brown leaves coming out of them. I don't know if like some of them have berries or if they flower at all. Mine don't. Mine are just leaves, but they're so cool and they're so pretty. And I've had mine since before Christmas. It's almost March and they still look exactly like they did when I bought them. I think I paid like $10 for a whole huge bunch of them, and they're still the most beautiful centerpieces, and I did not expect them to last this long. I don't know what's going on with them. Maybe they're like bionic plants or something, but they're so cool. If you love yourself, you will go take a trip to your local garden store or your local nursery and buy some magnolia boughs. I just made myself sound like a complete gardening idiot, which would not be far from the truth, but I promise you they are so cool and so pretty and you will love them. Next on the list of things that I love right now, that is my car. I just got a Kia Telluride and I seriously could not love it more. A little backstory here, I had been begging Joel to agree with me that it would be okay if I bought like a used Land Rover because I think Land Rovers are super cool and I know they have a reputation for being unreliable, but he just thought it was the worst idea. He thought it was going to be so expensive to keep up and I was going to need repairs and they were going to cost me so much money. And so instead, I ended up buying a Kia Telluride because it kind of looks like a modern Land Rover a little bit. I ended up spending way less than I would have on a Land Rover, and also I got third row seating. So if you're somebody who transports a bunch of people or a bunch of little people or just needs extra room, the Kia Telluride is awesome because it has the fold down third row seating. One of the options is you can get a middle row of either a bench seat or captain's chairs, and I got captain's chairs because I have a car seat on both sides, and it worked really well for me, and I really love it. They have 4 trim levels, and honestly, I really wanted like the top of the line because it had all the bells and whistles and all of the things. And one of my favorite features was that you could change the interior lights to be like basically any color you could ever imagine. And I just thought that was super cool. Another feature that I thought was really awesome was this like voice amplification system where if I was speaking from the driver's seat, it would amplify my voice back into the back seats. So it was definitely things that were not needs as far as a car is concerned to me. They were just bells and whistles and extra wants. What I really loved, though, about the top trim level was the fact that it had black wheels. And the black wheels just looked really slick on the vehicle. And then the 3 trim levels below that had silver wheels. What I ended up doing was buying one of the lower trim levels, saved myself like $10,000, $12,000, and then I had the wheels painted for $200. And so that worked out really well. I got the car that I wanted and the way it looks, and I didn't need to spend all the extra money on things that I didn't really actually need. I seriously love that car. I can see myself driving it for many, many, many years. It is like just absolutely perfect for me, and I could not recommend it more to anybody else who might need a little bit of extra space or the third row seating or an SUV that has a lot of room inside but doesn't feel like a dang boat to drive. Okay, next. This $18 that I spent has changed my life. And it's rare that something for $18 will change your life, but I'm telling you, this is so worth it. The other day, I bought online these little lights, and you plug them into your electrical outlets, and they have motion sensors, so when you walk by, they light up. Oh my gosh, such a simple concept, and these are like the best thing I've ever owned. I actually ended up going and ordering another pack because they're so freaking useful. I have some in every single bathroom. I have them in all the hallways, the living room, literally everywhere I walk in my house, it lights up. But the cool thing is it only lights up when it's not already light in the room. It knows when it's dark. It's so trippy and crazy, and something so little and something so simple has been so cool in my life, and I can't believe I'm this excited, but get you some motion lights because they're amazing. I can't believe how worked up I get about like really irritating or really exciting things. I think I have a problem. Good thing we're almost to the end. The last thing that I want to share with you is a book. Now, I have like a 45-minute to an hour-long commute to and from work every day, and so I like to listen to podcasts or audiobooks or just something to keep myself entertained. Recently, my brother sent me The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss on Audible, and I love it. I will probably listen to it 3 or 4 more times because it is just jam-packed with information that I find incredibly useful. The idea of it is that if you automate processes and you kind of make yourself more efficient, you can get all of your work done in 4 hours per week, and then you can have more time to spend doing the things that you actually enjoy doing. And if you're anything like me, you were thinking there's absolutely no way that I could fit everything that I do in a week into 4 hours. But he really makes it seem realistic, and he gives you the tools that show you how you can actually do this in your life. I'm only about halfway through the book right now, but it is so good, and I've wanted to share it with everybody that I know because it just makes me feel inspired. Obviously, nobody's like telling me to say this, and I'm sure as heck not getting paid to say this. However, that would be super cool. But I just really have enjoyed this book, and I want to share it with other people. So there you have it, my roller coaster of emotions for the day. I'm glad you are here to join me talking about the things that have recently been really extremely irritating to me, as well as the things that I'm really, really loving these days. The next time you hear from me, I will have a guest, so if this topic really isn't your style, hopefully the next one will be. If you're interested in winning the Rocketbook Wave, don't forget to enter the giveaway by going to the Purple Apple Podcast app and leaving a written review. Hopefully you will accompany it with a 5-star rating, and then go to the Instagram page for Barely Braided Podcast and leave me your username you used on Apple. I promise it sounds way more complicated than it is. It's like 2 steps and it takes like 45 seconds. It's not that bad. I'd also really like to give a big, huge thank you to this week's podcast editor, Ruben Andrews. Ruben, you have been an absolute lifesaver, and I am so lucky to have connected with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, have the most wonderful week. I know I will, on vacation in the mountains of Asheville, North Carolina, relaxing and doing absolutely nothing but sleeping. I hope your week is just as nice and relaxing as mine, and we will talk next time. See you later.